Okay, so we finally got the truck in the shop, and I know most of you probably won't have one of these available, but that's how we got it in here. And now the motor that's in this we're actually going to try to rebuild, but not for this truck, for this one over here. So we're taking the hood off now, and then we're going to pull that motor. I'll get a couple more videos here coming up. Believe it or not, this thing actually has water in it still after sitting in the field all these years. But I'm going to take the radiator out first. You can see the bolts here and the hoses. There's two hoses. The radiators come out pretty easy in these old trucks. And I'll continue recording. Okay, I'm just going to record this because it is funny. This truck, see if I can get a better view. Not very good one on that one. It has shag carpet interior. I don't know how many trucks there are out there today with shag carpet interior. Let's see, shag carpet dash, shag carpet headliner. This truck was ballin' back in the day. Even that door panel over there is shag carpet. Yeah, it's got, back when the windshield was any good, it said Ford and decals on the windshield. The guy did a makeshift job of moving the inside gas tank behind into the bed, and then he had a shag carpet seat in the back. So, oh, and I assume it had a canopy or something on it at some point, because it has a shag carpet bed liner. So, I don't think I'll ever see one of these like this again, but maybe. So we took the fan off, which is 4 easy bolts. That's pretty simple to do. We got the upper hose and the lower hose disconnected, so it's almost ready to come out. And there goes the radiator. It's a pretty
Definitely
radiator.
A farmer.
Yeah, a farmer owned this. Some of the stuff is a little crazy. Like here, where the throttle linkage, it was attached to the back of the firewall by electrical wire, so that the throttle linkage would stay taut, which I thought was a little bit funny. And the exhaust ends about a foot past the end of the exhaust manifold. Then, I don't know, you can tell just kind of like that radiator, not a Ford radiator, probably out of a swatter or something like that. Anyway, we'll get back to it. You're not going to be able to see very well, but we're pulling this engine. Someday they'll clone a Steve unit for everybody. He is pretty good at doing everything.
Thank you.
And
I think
he's taking out the bolts down there on the tranny cross members. This particular truck, there's 2 cross members because it has trailing arm front suspension, and they bolt into the first cross member. Not sure how well you can see that. This little screen, I can see it a little bit, but he's down here taking those off. And there's a couple bolts on that side, a couple bolts over here.
4 bolts.
And the whole thing should just drop down, hopefully. And then once we come back around to the front, we'll unbolt the engine. Since this isn't a truck that we're like going to try to put an engine back in properly, I've just cut all the wires, as you can see, like here, and the water lines for the heater core. I've just cut those off, and over here we've just cut off anything else that was connected from the engine, like the ground strap back there. And anyhow, here soon you'll get to see us pull this out, hopefully. I want to have that done before I leave today. Another step to removing the engine on this, we've got to pull up the pan on the floor, which will be under the carpet or the rubber. And then underneath of that is your transmission. And I don't think you can see that very good, but there's 4 bolts that hold the top of the transmission on. And if you take those
6
off, okay, 6. If you take those off, you can then pull the top of the transmission off, and with it will come the shifter. But if you do this on a vehicle that you're going to want to keep, you're going to be very careful not to get stuff inside the transmission when you lift it up. In this instance, once again, we don't care about the transmission, so we're kind of doing it the rough way. And we should be ready to pull the motor here soon. We already pulled the motor mounts and those as well, and just 3 bolts down there. See, bolts already taken out. Can't see the other 2 because they're on the bottom. And it's my new camera. I don't want to climb under there with it. And that side's already taken off as well. You'll get to see better once we start pulling it out. And I don't think this one's going to come out pretty, so it should put on a pretty good show. Anyway, that's for next time. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't really drive that thing and videotape at the same time, but you'll get the idea. The motor's out. We're going to pull the tranny here in a minute. The motor's sitting outside over here. Unfortunately, on our first, it's head again anyway, so it's not too bad. You can see we tore a chunk out the side of the, basically out the side of the exhaust manifold there, and then we broke the other one off right there. I gotta get used to this camera yet, so I apologize for too much shakiness, but it's out. And I love how the critters seem to find their way in everything. That whole clutch is cram-packed full of either mouse nest or bird nest or something. It's pretty messed up in there. Anyway, attempt to kind of fuck